Welcome back. David Hertel in for the vacationing Elias Mackos. Well, here he is. He's joining me in studio for an in-depth conversation. The interim leader of the Quebec Liberal Party, Marc Tanguay. Welcome to the show, Marc.
Thanks for having me, David. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. So we have a lot to get to. A lot of issues.
We have time. We
have time. We got a lot of calls and texts from our listeners about what the Quebec Liberal Party needs to do in this rebuilding phase. But I think the first real question I have for you is, what does it mean today for you, Marc Tanguay, and for anyone listening? What does it mean today to be a Liberal in Quebec?
First of all, I think that we need every day, in every decision, every position, to be strong advocates for our freedoms and rights. First and foremost, we are the only true Federalist party represented at the National Assembly. That being said, I think that we have to gain back our capacity to challenge the Federation, the Canadian Federation, and we saw in the last couple of years that we lost that capacity to challenge the Federation, to ask for more powers, for instance, for Quebec, for our nation. And I think that we have to find back this. So being a Liberal, it's about economic development, social justice, clearly federalist, but again, we probably be talking about nationalist, but we can defend the fundamental Quebec interest within Canada. That's our strong beliefs. And that's clearly distinguish ourselves from the PQ, QS, and CAQ.
Well, so let me get back on this. So you're talking about, fundamental justice, social justice, individual rights, the economy. How does the Liberal Party distinguish itself? Because all the other parties are going to say, nobody's against the economy. Nobody's going to say they're against social justice. Nobody's going to say they're against fundamental rights. How does the Quebec Liberal Party distinguish itself?
So now, in terms of an analysis between the what we're saying and the act, how do we govern ourselves at the National Assembly? We voted against Bill 96. We voted against Bill 21. And each and every day in Quebec, I'm answering questions, the hot room in Quebec.
Yeah.
Every day I've been asked questions about this file and this file and this file. And you can clearly see that there's a big difference in the answers that we are providing to all of these questions. In each and every files, we are distinguishing ourselves. For instance, you're talking about economy. Rest assured that there's a big difference between the Quebec Liberal Party vision of economy and Québec Solidaire economy. Same thing with respect to François Legault and Pierre Fitzgibbon. Pierre Fitzgibbon is there. If we're talking about economy, what's distinguish ourselves from CAQ? Is there for the big deals, and even the big deals is not the one who's closing these big deals. You saw what happened with these deals that we lost from Ontario. So again, we are facing a new challenges. There's three opposition party. We need to fight for the exposure. But again, the answers that we're providing, the type of questions that we are asking, clearly distinguish ourselves from the other three.
Okay, so let's get down to more details. You said the Liberals voted against 96. Let's remember last spring, the whole problems with 96, the David Birnbaum, Hélène David amendment fiasco, and that really hurt the Quebec Liberals, let's face it.
Clearly.
It hurt the party with the English-speaking community, with the Allophone community. And I don't think the Liberals have recovered from that yet. So yes, in principle, I understand you're saying, okay, we voted against 96, but take concrete examples. Right now, there are court challenges to Bill 96. Yes. One of them because of the preemptive use of the notwithstanding clause. 23 municipalities are challenging Bill 96. There are several other challenges in the works. We saw with the June 1st implementation of Bill 96, the complete controversy with the way the city of Montreal did it. These are three examples, for example, that I'm giving you right now. Concrete examples of the problems with 96.
Yes.
And there's a lot of reaction, even in the Francophone community. Michel Séogive-Lapresse denounced this, what's going on with the city of Montreal. Martin Saint-Victor denounced it. I denounced it. 3 Francophones. I mean, a lot of people, and this is not an Anglo-Franco thing.
Mm-mm.
So where is the Quebec Liberal Party on these 3 concrete examples involving Bill 96?
We're using every tribune that we have to denounce this, and it was written on the wall that they will have legal proceedings taken against Bill 96. So we saw that example with the 23 municipalities. I've been asked the question, and you know, David, I have the same answers in English and in French, which is very important. I've been asked the question at the hot room last week at the National Assembly. What do you think about what's going on with the City of Montreal, the 311 service, and the website? I answered that it's a laughing matter. This is not with such tools that we will be able to make sure that the French will be in good shape here in Quebec. So we have to support our industries. We have to help people who want to learn French to get access to course, and we have to make sure that our kids at school are learning French properly. That being said, again, it's the way our position on this fundamental issue will not change. We voted against Bill 96. We will see what will be the end results of these legal contestation of provisions of Bill 96. And we urge the government to do more to support our businesses, to support our people who wants to learn French and this is a completely opposite vision than the repressive ones. We want to have positive measures, and that's the only efficient way to achieve our collective goal.
So to be clear, you support these court challenges?
I will not take part of it. It's written on the wall. I think that they have good ground to contest. That being said, I'm a member of National Assembly. I will not jumping into the judicial debate, but it was first written on the wall, and I think that they have a valid cause of action. Now, I will not position myself as the judge. The judge will decide, but it's not a surprise for us.
No, but I understand you're not going to substitute yourself to the judges. And I understand it's before the courts, but at the same time, the Quebec Liberal Party has a position. I mean, do you agree with what's being advocated? Do you agree, for example, for just generally speaking, the preemptive use of the notwithstanding clause?
Not at all.
You agree with that?
Not at all. And this is one of the big reasons why we voted against Bill 96. Same thing for Bill 21. You know, one, you're not sure as a legislator if the legislation that you're passing is in accordance with the Charter of Human Rights, the Canadian one and the Quebec one. You're doing it like the CAQ has done. So this is unacceptable for us, David.
Do you agree with what the City of Montreal did on June 1st? The message, the phone message, and the website. Do you agree with the way they reacted to Bill 96?
I think that they have to follow the law. It's a law that has been passed. That being said, we saw the end result, and I think that the people at the City of Montreal, they are smart enough to say that, well, that's the law. We have to apply it as it is drafted. Again, we voted against, and we can see that it was a laughable result. A laughable result. Come on. Are you going to say, I don't think that I fall within the definition of those who can get access. I will not be clicking on the website. This is unacceptable and laughable.
So Marc Tanguay becomes Premier of Quebec, leading a Liberal government. What do you do to change Bill 96?
First of all, we have. I think that we have. First of all, we have to set aside all these the preemptive clause with respect to the notwithstanding clause. So this is a.
You would take out the notwithstanding clause.
Notwithstanding, of course, and also we're not there to punish. For instance, our businesses, our enterprise. We're there to support them. So the obligation to declare and the obligation, the paperwork, we're there to help them. And the government needs to be a partner, not the one who will be punishing those who are not doing enough to their own eyes. We need to be a partner. So Bill 96, we voted against. It's going to be a new approach. We will be setting aside this law. And with respect to Bill 21, first and foremost, the religious sign for our teachers at school, this is unacceptable for us. So first, notwithstanding clause out of Bill 21.
Okay.
And second, for instance, the obligation of not wearing any religious sign for our teachers at school, unacceptable for us. It's out as well.
Welcome back. In conversation with Quebec Liberal Party interim leader Marc Tanguay. Marc, about 96, a lot of English-speaking Quebecers feel betrayed by the Liberals. I understand you voted ultimately against it, but there is a trust issue right now. We saw it in the result of the vote in 2022. A lot of English-speaking Quebecers just stayed home or voted somewhere else. Do you feel you need to apologize to English-speaking Quebecers? Do you think you need to make amends?
I think that we have to be better to communicate our position. I think that we need to do more. We need to do better than that.
What does that mean?
It means that we have to be clear why you voted against Bill 96, why today Bill 96 will not help us to achieve our collective goal, which is the enhancing the French position in Quebec. And again, so we need to communicate more efficiently, to be clearer, and we are perfectly aware that we have to rebuild bridges with our fellow Quebecers, and that's our task. I'm the interim leader. Being present with you today, David, is part of this. I heard you had last week Desiree McGrath with you, so we have to be more present, to clearly stated what we are standing for, and to defend each and every one's rights, not only in speeches, but also in communication. But again, the answers that I'm providing you with, David, in English are the same in French when we are in Quebec.
I understand. My time is limited. I want to get to as many different issues. I'm going to try to do a lightning round on different policy issues.
Sure.
Salaries. M&A salaries. Quebec Liberals voted with the CQ government to increase salaries $30,000. Not popular with all Quebecers. Of course. A lot of criticism there, especially since I remember when I was a colleague of yours back in 2015, 2016, the Liberals didn't go ahead with a proposed salary increase, even though there was a report and there seemed to be people for it. So what changed? Why did you vote for the salary increase?
I think that, I've been in politics for the last 11 years, and we've been talking about that since the last 23 years. So comparing ourselves with other level of public service servant, we see that we are now, after the increase, at the 29th level of when we are comparing ourselves. So it's a rattrapage in French that has been
catch up
that we had to do for the last 23 years. And I know that at the same time, there's Quebecers out there are fighting against increases in the cost of living increase, and we have to help them. But again, I think that back in 2015, when Jean-Marc Fournier tabled a bill, the opposition at that time refuses to go ahead with that
but
bill.
we didn't even take it to a vote.
Absolutely.
We didn't do it.
So I think that today the end result is, I think that we are at the right place, the level 29th, with respect to the other public servant here in Quebec. And I think that it's not popular, of course, but we have to help Quebecer as well.
Not a day goes by we're not talking about healthcare, and I don't want to talk about the failings of the CAQ as much as I want to hear what would the Quebec Liberals do about the healthcare system. Today, it's the emergency rooms. Yesterday, it was Lakeshore. The other day, it's Lachine. I mean, what would you propose to solve the healthcare crisis?
It should have been done 5 years ago.
Yeah, well, we were in power. We didn't do it in 18.
Now, in 2018, we had, David, the end result of the projet ratio. There was a projet pilote, projet ratio, where the question asked was, how can we make sure that the life of our nurses, for instance, will be humanly acceptable in terms of the schedules and in terms of the number of patients that you have to take care of. Projet ratio, the end result, has been publicized at the end of 2018. At that time, who was the minister in charge of the Conseil du Trésor? It was Mr. Dubé, Christian Dubé, who refuses this $1.4 billion required to put in place Projet Ratio that would have helped us for the last 5 years to retain our nurses. Now we have a labor shortage, a huge labor shortage of nurses, and it goes directly to the level of services that today, unfortunately, we cannot offer the citizens.
Let's go to immigration. The Legault government has now announced that they will up the level for economic immigration to 60,000. During the campaign, François Legault said one person more than 50,000 would mean suicide for the Quebec nation, Louisianization of Quebec. Now 60,000, but you have to know French before you can be admitted.
Yeah.
Everybody in the economic sector across Quebec, Francophone, Anglophone, whoever, sectors all unanimously are saying we need at least between 80 and 100,000 economic immigrants a year. What say you on immigration?
We already tabled a very important document, which is the Charte des Régions. We need to see every region as a partner. The region needs to tell us what's their capacity to welcome new immigrants and what are their needs, because we always are in the paradigm where people are coming here in Montreal and we try to make them, moving to the region. So we need to address that issue with having the political representative of each region, the economical representative
Marc,
as well.
what's your concrete number? Where are you going with this?
It's not a question of number. It's a question of the needs and the capacity. And you'll see that we will be more than 50,
But do you agree with
60,
the 60,000? Do you agree 60,000 is enough? Do you agree with the fact that French has to be known before you get in?
No, I think that every person, and it's an important criteria if people are able to speak and to work in French.
It was a criteria before.
Yeah. And but that being said, I think that a person who wants to learn French, who's acting in good faith, we have to welcome them.
Okay.
And again, back at the last, I don't want to remake the movie of the last election, but our position was 70,000.
Yeah.
Plus, we need to enter into a conversation with everyone, every regions, to see what are your needs. And the assumption was that it's more than that.
Okay. I have just time for one final question, Marc. I want to talk about this vote the Liberals had last week, voting with the government on Tourism Minister Caroline Proulx's decision to override a Centre de Congrès de Québec decision, a contract which was concluded with a anti-abortion group. Now, this group respects all Quebec laws, and to me, it wasn't about abortion, it was about freedom of expression. And yet the Liberals and you started the interview by saying, we are a party of fundamental rights, of individual rights, voted with the government on this seemingly very slippery slope of a politician intervening into a already concluded contract that, anybody that disagrees with a politician's positions now can no longer rent out a venue. So what was your thinking behind that vote? So,
first of all, the group is Harvest International Ministries. They said that since 1988, since abortion is no longer illegal in Canada, they said, and I'm quoting them, resulting in some 4 million babies aborted today.
I understand their anti-abortion rights, Marc.
And has made,
I get it.
Listen to it, listen to it, and has made the mother's womb the most unsafe place for a child in Canada.
But what about freedom of expression, Marc? That's
Perfect.
my question.
Let's
what about
go to
freedom
there.
of expression?
But we already have limits to freedom of expression. For instance,
but not on this one.
But since
it's not hate and it's not violence.
But there's more than that, David. For instance, let me give you that example. They are anti-LGBTQ rights. They are strongly advocating against this. We passed, for instance, Bill 70 in December 2020, which says, and the title is An Act to Protect Persons from Conversion Therapy, provided to change their sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expressions.
Conversion therapy is not freedom of expression, Marc.
Yes.
No, conversion therapy is an actual
David,
medical procedure.
Let me read you.
It's a therapy. It's a therapeutic process.
No, the law says no one may advertise, whatever the form or means, to promote conversion therapy.
But there's no law about advocating an anti-abortion stance. There's no law.
That being said, so they're against LGBT. That being said, our Charter of Human Rights, Quebec Charter of Human Rights, today in 2023, what does it mean? I'll refer you to
I'm
three sections.
running out of time. I can't do look. My question was fairly simple. I understand where you're going with this. It's freedom of expression versus not freedom of expression.
But it has to be balanced. And even the commission said that there's no absolute right. And
I understand, but in this case, Marc, and I have to end, there's no judgment. There has been no judicial decision that prevents a person being anti-abortion. I'm sorry, that's a fact.
David, Section 9.1.
I'm not defending abortion. I'm just talking about freedom of expression.
Yeah, but there's certain limits, and I think that it's
our job. And you think
a
politician can decide based on her or his own judgment to intervene?
Section 9.1, if you allow me.
That's not the charter. No, it's not about
the charter. David,
I have to go.
It's about the charter,
no,
David.
No, it's not. There's no. Find me a decision. Find me a decision by Quebec courts or the Supreme Court of Canada that says that you cannot have an anti-abortion stance in Canada.
But David,
there's none.
It's written on the wall that they'll have a judicial debate, and I'm convinced that based on our values in 2023, we're at the right place.
I gotta
go. Can we reschedule a meeting?
Yeah, let's reschedule.
Let's reschedule because I have a lot to say about that.
I can see. Thank you very much for your time, Marc. Appreciate it. Interim Quebec Liberal Party leader, Marc Tanguay.